Now, Israel's foreign minister has accused Turkey of blocking Israeli imports and exports. Israel Katz said the action by Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan is breaking trade agreements. He posted a statement on the social media network X saying, "This is how a dictator behaves," disregarding the interests of the Turkish people and businessmen and ignoring international trade agreements. Mr. Katz also said he'd instructed officials to create alternatives to trade with Turkey. Let's get more from our correspondent Dorian Jones in Istanbul. Welcome, Dorian. So, has this cessation of trade and imports into Turkey, has that been confirmed? And what else do we know about this?
Well, as of yet, this story has come from the Bloomberg news agency, citing Turkish officials who says, as of today, Thursday, all imports and exports to Israel have ended. Now, there hasn't been any confirmation from anyone, including the Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, but the Israelis have appeared to confirm this and have strongly condemned the action. Now, Turkey has maintained trade relations with Israel in spite of the very fiery rhetoric coming from Turkish President Erdogan, who has routinely condemned Israel. But at the same time, behind-the-scenes trade was largely unaffected. And in fact, in 2023, bilateral trade accounted for around $6.8 billion, of which Turkish exports accounted for 5.1. And that was very contentious among the opposition, who accused Erdogan of double standards, particularly as it's understood that much of the exports from Turkey were very sensitive, including aviation fuel, steel, which critics of Erdogan said were being used for the Israeli war machine. Now, after the big setback in March local elections, which Erdogan saw many of his traditional supporters abandoning him, especially the religious voters, Erdogan's government announced that 54 items were banned from being exported to Israel, including aviation fuel. Now we understand that Erdogan has gone a step further and has now banned all exports to Israel, although Erdogan himself hasn't said anything of yet, and he releases news through an international news agency rather than domestically, which is raising questions. Possibly Erdogan wants to give him some wiggle room of possibly stepping back in the near future.
Is this likely to be a popular move, Dorian?
Well, undoubtedly, among his religious voters, this will be very much welcomed. In fact, we've seen numerous protests where you've seen really secular and religious people on the streets condemning trade with Israel. This Israel war against Gaza has crossed Turkish political boundaries. There is unification in support of Gaza against Israel. And so Erdogan's stance is under a lot of pressure to tighten up his stance against Israel. Now, it has to be said, this move is unprecedented. Even in 2010, when Israeli security forces killed 10 Turkish citizens who were on a boat trying to deliver aid to Gaza, Turkey, while suspending much of its diplomatic relations, trade continued unaffected. And in many ways, bilateral trade is in many ways seen as the glue that holds the two countries' relations together at times of high tension. If Turkey is going ahead with a cessation of all trade, this will lead to major long-term effects on the relations with Israel. And many analysts in Israel have already said that this could cause irreparable damage. A key thing, though, will be whether oil exports from Azerbaijan to Israel will continue to flow, because much of that goes through Turkish port of Ceyhan, and Israel is one of the major importers from Azerbaijan of oil. That will be a key concern of Israel, whether that oil will continue flowing, and will also be an indication of how serious Turkey is on applying pressure on Israel.
OK, thanks for that, Dorian. Dorian Jones in Istanbul.